Friday night football beckons here in the west of Singapore this evening in the AIA Singapore Premier League as Albirex Niigata take on Tampines Rovers. We are live from Jurong East Stadium. And it's a massive game, of course, at the top of the table because Albirex Niigata know that if they win this, it puts them really firmly in that driver's seat. They are 2 points clear of second-placed Lion City Sailors. And that puts the pressure on the Sailors who take on Geylang International on Sunday. And then, of course, we have the final round of games on October 10th. Well, thank you very much for joining us here at Jurong East Stadium. Myself, Shazad Haq, and Roshan Rai. As we look forward to this game here, Albirex Niigata know that they just have to continue their winning ways against, I'm afraid, a very poor Tampines Rovers at the moment. And Roshan, when we look at this now, we know how poor they've been at Tampines Rovers and how good Albirex, they had a draw, but a very morale-boosting draw, didn't they, against Lion City Sailors?
Yeah, look, scoring in that last minute of the match basically would have felt like a win to them. And yes, there's still a lot of work to do. They've got to take care of business here. And then in that final game, or depending on what happens with the Lion City Sailors on Sunday, but they just need to control what they can. There's a bit of a, I don't know if you're feeling this, but there's a bit of a strange vibe here. I can't quite explain in the ground. I don't know if it's a weird kind of atmosphere that maybe there's a little bit of pressure or there's a little bit of some of these Tampines players feeling a little bit down about what's happened over the last few days or so. So it could be something to keep an eye out on. But we'll try and lift the energy levels.
Absolutely. Of course, enjoy this weekend. We know there's a few things happening from next weekend onwards. So these last round of fixtures, at least for now, we know, are definitely going to happen. Let's have a look at the lineups and starting with Albirex Niigata. And no surprises, Roshan. They are probably, no surprise for us perhaps, that they are staying with the same 11 that drew with Lion City Sailors.
Yeah, that's Albirex this season, right? Under Keiji Shigetomi, you know, he doesn't see the need to make too many changes. And it's a great example of just how fit and how available these players are. You know, having played the majority of this season together, there's a really good understanding amongst the squad in there. Look, plenty of quality in that Albirex side, and especially on the bench, you know, Kuraba Kondo, who's come on to into the Albirex side, usually in the second half has had an incredible impact on their overall attacking play. Good to see Seboy on the substitutes bench there as well. They don't need to risk him too much because of just how well the team is really sort of playing at the moment.
Well, you know, you talked about two great attacking players there, and we've mentioned this before, that despite all the goals that Seboy has scored prior to his injury, and by the way, he was in fantastic form before that injury, they have had other players step up and fill the void and do it in style.
Yeah, look, they have players to do that. I mean, one of them is Taniguchi. We'll touch on him a little bit later on, but Nagasawa as well is another who stepped up. Maybe not necessarily in really contributing in terms of the goals, but in terms of creating opportunities for his side and being the player that once he gets on the ball, he's got that ability to take on a couple of defenders, skip past those challenges, and then look for his teammates as well. And again, he has that element of, again, that word I'm going to use, that element of gravity around him in the sense that he draws defenders towards him, which then in turn creates a little bit of space for some of his other teammates. But that warm-up as well, being led by Hashioka, he's another one who's a big threat down that right-hand side, looking to link up with Ong Yuan in those positions. Another player that I really like is how they control midfield with Tezuka and Chiku in those central positions.
So Nagasawa will probably start on the left as usual, Ong Yuan on the right, and then should they take off Ong Yuan off, generally what happens, Nagasawa then goes on the right and then Kondo comes on the left. We'll have a look at that in a short while. But first, let's have a look at the Tampines Rovers lineup. They have had some changes, of course, since that mauling at the hands of Lion City Sailors. Significantly, of course, they've got the return of both by Haki Kaizan and Yase Hanapi, the skipper, both returned from suspension. So out goes Irwan Shah, the left back. And interesting to see, there is no Madu Mahana even on the bench today.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me. I thought he actually had a decent enough outing. It's strange to say he had a decent outing when they lost 6-1. But I thought generally he's been pretty okay for Tampines Rovers this season. Of course, he's had a few issues with a couple of injury situations, perhaps. So it's a surprise for me that he's not to see that he's not in the squad. But look, they still have plenty of experience in this side. I mean, Bennett and Baihaki in central defense. But they'll have to just look at trying to defend in another way. And what we saw from them defending in the first half against the Lion City Sailors was they sat back in their own half and protected the spaces, and they did that well. Yasir Hanapi coming back into the starting lineup, I think will be a big boost for them in those forward positions. And we talk about that experience, but also that fight. And we've seen that fight from Yasir Hanapi playing for Singapore as well. He's always someone who he doesn't care who he's up against. He will go and give as good as he's getting, and that's good to see. It's good to see that fire, that competitiveness, and he'll add quality in those attacking positions. Probably supplying someone like Kapitovic and playing those passes out wide into the likes of Bosniak, who will look to try and just cross it at every opportunity to get it on the head of Kapitovic, who I think has been very good for Tampines Rovers this season. 16 goals scored, and for a side that's struggling in a sense, for him to be still getting into those scoring positions and putting those chances away, I think is very good. He's always working very hard in those forward areas, I think, Kapitovic, and perhaps some out there not really giving him enough attention or giving enough of the credit that I think he deserves, because he works really hard for his side in those forward positions, closing down, trying to hold on to it, and at times, he's in moments where he's been a little bit isolated, he's actually tried to make things happen all on his own.
Never easy as that lone forward, is it? Especially one in a team that is really struggling at the moment. Now, we mentioned, of course, that Albirex Niigata are firmly in the driving seat, all thanks to that draw last time out, the last gasp draw that they got against Lion City Sailors. And look at their results since the restart in late July, Roshan. They've only had the one loss against Tanjung Pagar United and 2 draws. Otherwise, they have been excellent, haven't they?
They have been very good, really consistent in terms of the performances and in terms of putting chances away as well. Some big wins in there, 4-1 against Hougang, 4-0 against Balestier, 5-0 against Geylang, and then of course that crucial draw against the Lion City Sailors. What you're going to get from this Albirex side is a team that will just keep going, absolutely keep going until the final whistle. And look, I mean, you look at the defeat that they had. I know there are a few Lion City Sailors players watching this game as well, and hoping that Tampines are able to do them a favor. It's a big night for lots of clubs. It's a big night for Albirex in terms of title race, for Lion City Sailors as well, who are watching on, and it's a big night for Tampines Rovers as well, because we want to see what kind of spirit there is still left in this squad. I know the season's coming to an end. There's been lots said about the issues behind the scenes with them. But look, what kind of response can they muster up here? And it also has to be said that while the Sailors players are looking at a favor being done for them, perhaps, the last time Albirex actually lost, which was to Tanjung Pagar, and the Lion City Sailors had an opportunity to sort of close that gap, to make things up, they also fumbled against Balestier Khalsa. So, yeah, you're hoping for a favor, but worry about your own business and do your own job and do your own work.
Well, on that note, when you say doing a favor for Lion City Sailors, they want to do a favor for themselves first and foremost, Tampines Rovers. We'll get back to them because there are a few issues there. But let's talk about some of the other key players within Albirex Niigata in that midfield area. You've got Tezuka.
Yes.
He takes all the set pieces.
Yes.
We know against Lion City Sailors, they conceded so many free kicks, and he's got great delivery on him, hasn't he?
He's got good quality on his deliveries, 5 goals and 4 assists. But also, I think he's got quality in the finishing, and that's because he's got such good game intelligence. I think he sees the game very well. He understands spaces. He's very composed on the ball. He is essentially the player in midfield who keeps things ticking over for Albirex. With those switches of play, with those moments where he's picking up off his defenders and playing it through the lines. Really important player is Tezuka, and I mean, when you've got a player like Taniguchi as well in those 4 positions, 9 goals and 8 assists, he's been another one who's been in a really good run of form, scoring that late equalizer against the Lion City Sailors. Look, you've got players in there who've replaced the goals of Kiyoshiro Surboy, and that's again a credit to these players who have turned up. And Taniguchi is a wonderful, wonderful player. I think he's got to be in there when it comes to the end of the season awards, just because of the impact that he's had in that free role. He starts out in that 4-4-2 that they sort of play. He starts out alongside a striker. Maybe it was Surboy initially. Now it's maybe Fyros, for example. But he's given that license to sort of drift into these little spaces, and he's very smart as well with how he connects the play and how he finds himself into areas where he can create chances and score goals.
Against Lion City Sailors, it was an interesting game. That we called it a chess match at the time.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see how Tampines approach this one now,
Yeah.
knowing what they've got in front of them. Albirex Niigata, we saw them against Lion City Sailors. They were pretty deep. They were trying to hit on the break, on the counter. And that actually, and you and I were quite impressed, for about 50 minutes, that kind of tactic worked, didn't it?
Yeah, I expect that they'll look to do that again against this Albirex side. I don't think they'll go out and press as aggressively as we've seen them do before. But it was just a strange one how they sort of collapsed in the second half. And that was the thing that was really worrying for me. But if they can stick to that game plan of frustrating Albirex, they could find a bit of success.
We are going to talk more about Tampines Rovers and what's being said about the club at the moment after the break. We'll be back in a short while. Do stay with us. We are at Jurong East Stadium, and not too far away from kickoff here between Albirex Niigata and Tampines Rovers. Other matches that are going on in the next few days. Young Lions are at Jalan Besar Stadium against Tanjung Pagar United. That's on Sunday at 5:30. At the same time, Geylang International up against Lion City Sailors. Another huge game for that title race. Geylang, of course, in action very soon after that. Against Balestier Castle. That was the postponed game because of COVID-19 in both camps. That's on the 3rd of October. And then Balestier Castle take on Hougang United on the 6th as well. So we are building up to this match. Enough of us for the moment. Let's hear from the head coaches of both clubs.
KG, you're in a great position to win the title with just 2 games left. What has the message to the team been ahead of tonight's crucial clash?
Of course, we want to focus on getting 3 points in this match to win the title.
We all know that Tampines have struggled to win lately, but they have scored a goal in 52 SPL games in a row. What's the key to shutting down their attack tonight?
Oh, I see. But we want to show you our fighting spirits and exciting football as usual. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck tonight.
Welcome.
Gavin, your third game in 6 days. How have you prepared for tonight, given the short turnarounds?
Yeah, I think we've got quite a few experiences of a short turnaround fixture. All we can do is to rest, recover, highlight certain areas, and prepare minimally, but more efficiently in that sense.
Just 2 games left this season. What do you want to see from your players in these final games?
Yeah, I think as a basic standard is to make sure we try to go out there, be the best we can be in this moment, and give a performance that our fans would be at least proud of.
Yassi and Baihaki come back in after suspension. Will there be any other changes to the squad, given the amount of games you've played lately?
No, I think relatively, the players are fresh. By having those 2 back is definitely a boost, and we're looking for a good game tonight.
All right, thank you. Good luck tonight.
So, neither coach particularly talkative for different reasons, Roshan.
Perhaps why we thought that they could cut them short a little bit, because they tend not to say too many interesting things in the pre-matches.
You can understand at the moment, Shigatomi saying, I just want to focus on what's at hand. He doesn't really give much away anyway, and English is not his first language. I think we've
Look, I mean, it's a credit to him. He's trying to.
Absolutely. Yeah. As for Tampines now, we said we'll look at them in a little bit more now. Things have been poor. since they've come back to Singapore from the AFC Champions League. 7 matches. They have conceded 50 goals this season, 28 of them since the restart, Roshan. It is the worst in the league, and they've never conceded this many since 20 years ago, and that was in a 33-game season.
Yeah, it's been awful. It's been difficult. It's been tough for them, and you know, the all sorts of issues at the club going on at the moment. I know it's been reported there's some infighting in the squad between players, and you know, I asked the last time out against Lion City Sailors, is this a squad that is you know, together in terms of accepting responsibility as a squad and say, listen guys, we've all not been good enough? Or is it a squad that's, you know, I'm been doing my job, you're not pulling your weight, just start blaming each other and fighting with each other? And I guess we've got our answer with regard to that. And you know, one of the other things that I think they didn't quite expect is how much the AFC Champions League campaign took out of them. You know, coming into this season as well, the squad, you know, they have lost some key players, and we've touched on all those key players over the last few matches or so, especially last time out, mentioning the likes of Amirul being out of the side, you know, Shahrul going international, Shahiran missing from the team. You got Joel Chew as well, who's out of the squad. So all these players who actually sort of belong to Tampines, or belonged to Tampines in a sense, now out, and then it's very difficult because then you don't really have the squad capable of sort of competing on these various fronts in those situations.
However, from what we're hearing, what we're seeing from the club, what's emanating from them at the moment, it seems almost like the Champions League is almost becoming a convenient crutch.
Yeah.
And look, that's over and done with. Clubs go and play in continental competition all the time.
Yep.
It's not good enough, is it? They can't be just they can't be using that as a reason.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right to sort of point that out. It's something that you know it's a competition you're going to be sort of dealing with, and you need to try and plan appropriately or accordingly. And I'm sure they did. I just perhaps they didn't realize just how much it would have taken out of them. And also, again, you think about the squad and you think about the planning in terms of what's available, in terms of finances and things like that. I'm not too sure what the budgets are, so I can't quite, you know, criticize them for that without having full facts in a situation like that. But look, what people around are expecting from Tampines is certainly not what we've seen from them.
Absolutely.
You know, since the restart of the season, since the AFC Champions League, and since the restart of the season. So, you know, I mean, with the fact that they've conceded the most goals in the league, that's been terrible. But I tell you what, one of the positive things perhaps has been, you know, the strike force, who are second most goals in the league, although they have been missing a few opportunities in recent times, but they've still been scoring those goals when they get those chances.
They've
I mean,
created the chances, haven't they? It's not like they have just been sitting back this whole time.
no, they do create opportunities, but it's in these key moments. And you remember when we went back to this game and we were doing commentary, and I said, you know, Tampines, in some of these matches in this terrible run that they've had, it's not like they've completely played poorly.
No.
They have created chances. They just haven't been able to put them away. Like those key moments. Bosniak, the first one, for example, he cuts inside, has an opportunity to finish, blazes over the bar. Here, it looks like his confidence is completely gone. You know, he should be finishing it himself. You know, getting yourself into these key positions, into these key areas, in those key moments, and killing off the opposition. If they'd scored against the Lion City Sailors first, that changes the momentum and the rhythm of the game. You know, then you can sit back a little bit more. And the goals, it's a cliche, but it sounds like cliche, but this thing is really true about football. Goals will change matches.
Yeah.
It changes the rhythm of the game, the momentum of the game. Ask any sort of coach out there, and your tactics and things like that, and your systems, you know, might just switch a little bit, because suddenly you have to chase a game, for example, and that could open up spaces for you to perhaps hit the opposition on the counter-attack a little bit more. So, you know, missing these opportunities in key moments, for me, has hurt them in the run that they've had at the moment. Of course, we know defensively they've been all over the place as well. That doesn't help. But I think if you take your chances in those moments, in those situations where you can really sort of hurt the opposition, that will help you along as well.
We've seen on social media, particularly calling for the head of Gavin Lee. He, you know, only just renewed that contract a short while ago till 2024. He seems, you know, look, it's hard, right? It's not easy for him at the moment, but you can understand where these calls are coming from. And most leagues around the world, this kind of run would not be tolerated by now. Yeah. He's been given a longer leash, it seems, by Tampines Rovers. And, and the chairman, by the way, has said he's got full faith in him.
Yeah, he's got the backing of the board, which is
we know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. We know generally that is not quite what it appears to be. But look, I think in this situation, I don't believe he's a poor coach. How can he be a poor coach if, you know, we've seen from him in the last couple of seasons or so where he's brought Tampines Rovers. He's taken them into the AFC Champions League. I think it's been very difficult overall, and I know the coach is the man who is there, who will be sort of the one who has to take responsibility for everything. All the pressure is going to be on his shoulders. But listen, nobody achieves anything or fails at anything just because of that one reason. It is really
a whole bunch of things,
A
right?
whole bunch of things. You know, the fact that the squad's been decimated at times through injuries, they've had these issues along the way as well. You can say these are excuses, you can, sure. But really, it's been a tricky situation for him. He's a young coach, and it's easy. I know it's very easy to just sit out there and say, sack him, sack this, sack that. But look, I'm not one to stand up here publicly and call for someone's head to roll, because you know it's never nice for people, whatever job you're doing, for people to say, yeah, he should be sacked.
On that note, is there any hope today? Is there any glimmer of hope for Tampines Rovers fans tonight that their team, forget an upset, can they hold Albirex perhaps to a draw?
There's always a chance, right? There's always a chance. It's football. We know stranger things have happened in these situations. So, yeah, there's always an opportunity for them to show that, you know, look, we're not really dead and buried yet. There's an opportunity for us to bounce back. Let's show some character and go out on a little bit of a high. And as a club, they've got actually a pretty decent record against Albirex as well.
On that positive note, a rallying cry issued by Rish Roshan Rai. Do stay with us. When we come back, we'll have kickoff here between Albirex Niigata and Tampines Rovers. So here we are then at Jurong East Stadium. AIA Singapore Premier League match coming up shortly. Albirex Niigata in first place up against Tampines Rovers, looking to secure fourth spot in the SPL. Remember that fourth spot will be enough to get them into the AFC Cup. That's Asia's second tier competition. And they're pretty much there anyway, given that both Ballistic Khalsa and Geylang International, while they do have a game in hand, would need to win pretty big, and Tampines would need to lose by quite a bit. I know the cynics might say, well, that's perfectly possible given the results that we've seen so far from Tampines Rovers. There have been some stirring comments from the camp in the lead up to this game, brushing aside rumours of infighting and, well, saying that Gavin Lee, the chairman, has got full confidence in him. And they want to try and show their fans that they still can have a say in the league race. We thought that might happen against Lion City Sailors, perhaps, but they were blown away. Did hold LCS for a while, took the lead, in fact, but then it all fell away from the 54th minute onwards, and they ended up losing 6-1. How will they perform today? Certainly the fans have been out with the knives on social media. Johaman Zaiton in charge here with Andy Tan and Chan Kwok Wai, the assistants. Mohammad Hilmi Fuad is the fourth official. Well, with me here in the commentary position is a former professional himself. He knows all about the travails, the highs and lows of football here in Singapore. Rish Roshan Wright. And Roshan, we had quite a good chat just now about what's been afflicting this club. We'll, I'm sure, be talking about that anyway. But let's go be positive for a bit and talk about Albirex Niigata and for you, what they bring to the SPL, because you've obviously played against them back in the day when perhaps they weren't quite the same side as before. We'll always have these lineups in our way, don't we? But let's just tell you that Albirex Niigata have made no changes to the side that drew in that last gasp draw against Lion City Sailors. Kiyashiro Suboi and Kuraba Kondo will be very likely to come off the bench at some point. Keiji Shigatomi in the build-up to this said they're just focusing on what they have to do. They're not worried about anything else. They want the 3 points today to put them up, set them up for a derby against Tanjong Pagar United on the final game of the season. Tampines Rovers, well, they make a couple of changes from the side that were hammered by Lion City Sailors just a couple days ago by Haki Kazan and Yasser Hanapi, the skipper, return from suspension with Irwan Shah on the bench, and Madu Mahana nowhere to be seen today. A minute's silence there in tribute and in loving memory of Muhammad Noor Hussain, or Mat Noor, who passed away sadly just a few days ago, and a wonderful servant to Singapore Football International, perhaps best known for scoring the winner against Malaysia in a World Cup qualifier in the late 1970s. And, you know, those are the players that people got off their seats for, Roshan.
Yeah, certainly. But look, you know, you're a footballer for a short period in your life, and your life is more about the impact I think you make off the pitch. And you know, with all the tributes that we've seen, certainly someone who had a big impact on lots of lives out there as well. So really sad for his family, for his friends, for people that loved him. A celebration of the impact that he made on many lives.
So kickoff about to get us underway here with this match. And Tampines Rovers, well, it can't be easy to raise yourself up after what has been a very, very difficult couple of months. And in these early stages, Roshan, I want to go back to that question I was asking you about. What Albirex Niigata bring to the table for you?
Oh, a lot. I think, you know, the fact that they've been here for years and years now, and they've always sort of put up a good showing, good performances on the pitch, a style of play that sometimes might not necessarily be what we see from some local teams. And you know, the level of professionalism, the way the club is run overall, the kind of players that they've been able to sort of bring through, and the players who stick around in the league, in the S League previously, in the SPL, players who came in via Albirex and then stuck around and played for other local clubs, and the contributions they've made in terms of, you know, now trying to help develop younger Singaporean talent, bringing them in as a part of the squad, exposing them to the training sessions and to the level of intensity that's required. And people often talk about, you know, oh yeah, they're not getting minutes on the pitch. These young guys are not getting minutes on the pitch, but you know, you forget that other aspect of development, which is training, which how important training is, and that's where you make most of your gains. You know, yes, you play matches, yes, you learn things from football matches, but the majority of your time, the majority of the year is spent in training sessions, and that's where, for me, you pick up the most.
I would argue that every local player, and we see, by the way, a player down here.
He just bumped into the hoardings there. It's good that he's back up. He's okay. Taniguchi, would have been a shame to see a player of his quality leave the pitch so early on.
The old school A-boards would have been a lot easier to bump into Roshan than these LED ones.
They got a bit more give. Used to have. These ones are, yeah.
And these are solid, aren't they? Yeah. I was just going to say that all the local players that have come into Albirex Niigata over the last few years, I'm thinking Adam Swandi, seem to just go up a notch, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Their 1 year, their stint here before they move on to other clubs.
You know, a lot of them talk about, you know, positively about being at this club and learning so many things through them, and you know how it's sort of helped take their game up to sort of another level. And Adam Swandi, for example, was brilliant in the season that he was here. Ended up winning the title individual awards as well. So, you know, he's one who's really sort of benefited. But another one who I've really sort of enjoyed watching in recent times, and there's lots been said about him, is Ong Yuen on the right-hand side there, the young man, number 27. And he's another one who's had quite a bit of decent game time with this Albirex Niigata side. Nicky Melvin Singh, another one who's had to fill in up front at times in Siboy's absence.
Yeah, sadly, his season is over after an injury. And has been kept alive here. Kapitovic bounces over him. Tokiwa was going to go back to his goalkeeper. Said that came off Kunimoto.
And another thing as well, I've spoken to some of the players involved in the Albirex setup, and they talk about how, you know, the intensity and the level of the training sessions, and then trying to bring some of these younger local players up to those levels, trying to compete in situations like that, trying to get adjusted to a different way of training, a different way of being a professional footballer.
Well, they will try to have the much of the ball as possible today. Albirex Niigata. That's what they're known for. They were a little bit different, weren't they, against Lion City Sailors for a while?
Yeah, I didn't quite see that that tempo and the zip in their game in that first half, especially of that match. And the Lion City Sailors, you know, they had a plan to sit back as well and to protect the spaces in behind that defense. They didn't press up high against this Albirex side, and really Albirex sort of ran out of ideas as the first half wore on. Second half, they were able to just change it up a little bit with Siboy and Kondo coming in. And then there was a little bit more attacking impetus. Had a couple of opportunities, and then of course the big one at the end, the most important one that they were able to put away.
Here's Nakamura, who used to play for this side, was the heartbeat of Albirex Niigata previously. Him and Mehmedovic try to run that midfield. There is the aforementioned Mehmedovic. Today filling in at left back. I've got Amiral Heikel. There's a cross from Aaron Bosniak, and it's cleared away out of the ground.
There's always a good chance if you're out here and watching the game around the venue that there will be a wonderful select match ball leaving the arena. One for someone out there on the streets to pick up.
So that's why those people are out there.
Well, yeah.
Or actually, it's quite a comfortable spot where they are, on the bank, just outside. Fans, of course, at the moment allowed in, but that will probably change given what's just broken the news over the last few hours. Here's Tokiwa. Nice switch across to Ong Yuan.
Yeah, this is an aspect of their game, Albirex. These switches from the middle out into those wider positions, either into Tokiwa or Hashioka, or as we see in certain instances, they go from fullback to sort of to fullback at times, or to wide midfielder at times.
What's great, Roshan, is that they are very happy to pass the ball to the 17-year-old in Ong Yuan.
Yes, look, I mean, if you're in the team, then you have to be a part of the team in the sense that you've got to be able to be good enough to make a contribution to the side. And for me, Yuan has been good enough to play these matches for them, and he has contributed to their overall play at Albirex. And they try and find him. He links up with Hashioka in those positions. At times he drops in, plays a little bit narrower, and then that creates a little bit of space in the wider positions for Hashioka to go and get forward. And these the switches of play that they use, you know, one of the things it does, sure, it changes the angle of attack very quickly. The other thing that it does is at times it can isolate a defender in a one-on-one. Just to the far side, where there's a little bit more space to just try and attack the opposition defense, perhaps.
Hashioka takes that quickly. Ong Yuan won't get there. Here's Arman Bosniak. He's done well. Imran Hakim. Now Yasser Hanapi. What, with the selections today, Roshan, the return of Baihaki Kazan and Yasser, they've lost a left back a regular left back in Irwan Shah and no Madu Mahana. Does this strengthen the side, do you think, today or not?
Well, with the again, it's something that we've touched on with the quota. It's something for coaches to think about. It's an additional thing in terms of the planning. You know, you've got to have your 3 under-23 players in there, so you've got to sort of plan around, okay, which senior players can I put in certain positions, and there's always going to be sort of that player who misses out. And in this instance, you mentioned Irwan Shah having to take his place on the bench, but they've got a young left back in there in Amirul, who can play in left midfield at times if they need a bit more defensive cover in those positions. Who's got I think, a decent future ahead of him, Amirul, in his development. You see that free kick given for a handball there on Hashioka. So you look at certain areas and then you say, yeah, they're strong there, and perhaps they're weak in these other positions. Perhaps in the wider areas is where, you know, they might be a little bit weaker. Whereas in the central defensive positions, you've got two veterans of the game there, experienced heads, and then Bennett and Baihaki Kazan. Two of them I know have come under lots of criticism as well. But listen, that's the life of a professional footballer, right? You just got to get your head down and get on with it.
Here is Yamashita. Well, has stayed in. Good work there from Nagasawa. Tokiwa.
Actually, you know what? Let me correct my statement. I said a life of a professional footballer. And I think people can have sort of opinions about you in terms of criticisms of your play, but I don't think it should be subjected to personal insults and things like that. That's just because you're a public figure. It doesn't.
There's no license for that.
There's
right?
no license for you to go out and abuse, or for them to be abused. But yeah, you can absolutely have an opinion about the fact that, you know, maybe certain areas, certain parts of the game, they're lacking a little bit. It's just a loose pass.
Given away to Tezuka, who was trying to get that up to Taniguchi. Baihaki back into the side today, restored with Maru not around. That has certainly raised some eyebrows and questions. They're really a very, very thin bench. Only 2 senior players on it. There is Bosniak, Mehmedovic, Yasir. They've been taking away Russian so far, Tampines.
Yeah, they're moving it along nicely up the pitch. They're keeping it well under pressure from Albirex here.
Just saw a little bit of movement from Kopitovic, who's hoping for a ball over the top perhaps from Nakamura.
I know it's still very early days in this game. As we see Iman Hakim with a pass that actually puts his teammate under a bit of pressure there. And good pressing by UN, who identified that was a moment to go out and apply that pressure on Amirul. Turnover in possession. Koga, as we've seen from him a lot this season, a part of Alberex's build-up, that extra man in the center. They're almost becoming that third central defender. Goalkeepers always allow that license to push up almost to halfway. That's because, you know, opposition generally tend to sit back against them. So he's got a lot of space to get up and move forward. No surprise that Koga's one of his favorite players is Edison. He's got decent distribution as well, Koga. Sweet left foot. For me, perhaps the standout goalkeeper in the SPL is Hashioka gets flagged for offside. And yeah, Koga, even I think better than Hassan Sani has been this season. Those are the top 2 for me, with Koga just shading it. So just see Hashioka clearly looking across the line and getting himself flagged for offside. Look at the number of saves Koga has had to make as well.
Yeah.
And look,
Oh, given away. Under pressure here. Farouz Hassan does well. Tezuka, it was hard for him, and it's cleared away by Dan Bennett.
that was Shazwan. Shazwan with a loose pass out from the back. Couple of instances there. Initially with early on with Bahaki giving the ball away, and then Shazwan just on that occasion. Sorry, I was just going to come back to how, you know, the stats about saves can be very misleading. You know, you look at highest number of saves and you think, yeah, that goalkeeper has been fantastic. And, you know, if you've been watching Koga, and yes, and, you know, the stats in the league say he's one of the top goalkeepers in terms of saves being made. But if you also look at the quality of the saves, you know, at times Albirex, because of the way they play, they've left themselves open in certain situations to counter-attacks. You see this opportunity just get hammered away upfield by Dan Bennett. And, you know, he's had to make really good quality saves, Koga.
Gavin Lee there, saying quite a lot at the moment. It's a rather reserved Shigatomi. I think Russian, we've said before, sometimes their own worst enemy, aren't they? Tampines Rovers, they create problems for themselves with some of the errors that they make in defense.
Yeah, they can be a little bit loose at times. It's the way they want to play, right? They want to stick to the principles of trying to play out from the back. It can be risky in certain situations. And I think especially if you're not playing with the most confidence at the moment, then, you know, you can kind of second guess things a little bit. And again, it's another pass that's cut out.
There's a case in point given away by Nakamura. Of all people, both him and Mehmedovic had a hand in conceding goals by losing possession in the last game against Lion City Sailors. That's Hanapi coming back to help. As they try to come forward, here is Nakamura on this left-hand side, or right-hand side, excuse me. Trying to feed that up to Kopitovic.
You know, moments like that, though, the way they sort of just played it out from under pressure, deep in their own half on that right-hand side. And they were able to find a free pass, a free man into Iman, who then turned and played it into Nakamura. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't quite get Kopitovic into a position in behind that Albirex defense.
Yeah, that stubbornness, some might say, of trying to play out from the back. Came back to haunt them in especially the game against Hougang United recently, where they lost 7-3. They sort of stuck to their principles throughout the game and were caught out on numerous occasions.
You know, I think at the end of the day, you're a coach, and you can choose to adapt or not, and responsibility is yours, and the results are what people are going to generally go on. And at least at the end of the day, if you keep playing your way, keep using your philosophy, at least you can always say, I went out on my terms.
That's true. I think this sounds almost like a deja vu conversation you and I had during the AFC Champions League.
It's something that is often a point of debate in football across the world, right? I'll come back to that in a second. This is sweet Taniguchi. Neat little pass into Fyros. I'm not quite sure what he was actually trying to do there. He's got far too much on that return ball.
Here's Amirul. Now Yasser. Dan Bennett back to Shazwan. Haven't really done much in the attacking final third.
I think you can, again, coming back to adaptation, I think you can adapt within the sort of framework that you've built.
Come back to that in a minute, because it's a good ball from Mehmedovic up to Bosniak. And easy for Koga to snatch out of the air. That's about as high up the pitch as they've got so far.
Yeah, first bit of goalkeeping that Koga has had to do. Or with his hands anyway. He's had plenty of involvement with his feet. Easy cross picked out by Koga.
Here's Chiku. Similar today, Roshan, the way they set up from what they did against Lion City Sailors. And relatively solid, apart from the odd error on their side.
The errors are starting to come from when they're trying to short pass it out from those deeper positions. But generally, they've kept Albirex at bay so far. That's why they're looking for these spaces out in those wider areas, trying to stretch that defense across.
So here we go, corner for Albirex Niigata. Keep an eye out for Taniguchi, loves to go make a run towards that near post at times. It is Fyros, free here, Fyros! Wow, that was acres of space around him.
Yeah, I mean, Iman Hakim was trying his best to close him down. I mean, all the time in the world, Fyros to really just control the ball and set himself up for a shot. Just have a look here. He peels away towards the back post there into nice open space. Again, that's a training ground. Corner routine, very deliberate. And the quality to pick up Fyros from that set piece situation. And that's something Albirex do very well. They make good use of their set pieces, of their corners. They've got players who've got that ability to put the ball where you need them to.
That one clips the upright. Fyros' shot. About as close as they've got so far, Albirex Niigata, but I think they'll be relatively happy with what they've done so far. They are a very, very patient team. As we saw against Lion City Sailors, Roshan. They just plug away, don't they?
Yeah, and then, look, I think they've got really good fitness levels as well. So you see even late on in games, they've got that ability to increase the tempo and increase the intensity. And they say to opposition, look, sure, you can sit back, you can try and make it difficult for us. We're going to have to be patient, but let's see how long you can last. And we're willing to sort of go all the way. Are you? And you see it in their transitions as well, how quickly they get forward, but also on the defensive transitions. At the set piece, for example, they lose the ball, and that's a time when you can really hurt the opposition on the counter-attack, but it's so quick to get players tracking back as well. There's both sides of the game.
Taniguchi. Runs into by Haki. A lot of players down that right-hand side. Look how many bodies are back at the moment. Quick passing at the moment. It's good stuff, isn't it, Nagasawa? And they win the ball back. Tezuka. Andrew Au releases, try to release, bit of a heavy pass to Kapitovic. He's going to have to be a very patient man today.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do his best to try and hang on to it when it does come into him. He's going to be under pressure instantly, but he just needs to help his side catch a little bit of a breather at times and give them opportunities to try and go forward or to get support into him once he does receive. This was very much the plan from Tampines that we saw against the Lion City Sailors, at least in the first half. They were just sitting back, closing off the spaces at the back, shifting across.
Tokiwa won't keep that in.
This is what I mean by sort of adjusting, adapting within your sort of framework. You know, we see from Tampines, generally, when they're in a good run, when they're playing with confidence, they do press up higher against the opposition. They do have a higher starting position. But since it's become very difficult for them, perhaps confidence a little bit low, they want to just sit back a bit more, try and protect themselves, sit back a little bit deeper, but they still keep their principles with the ball. You know, they still maintain the fact that, yes, when we have it, when we have possession, we still want to play, we still want to draw out the opposition press before perhaps hitting spaces in behind. Didn't quite, I think, have the first touch that he would have liked, ideally, Chiku there, because it's given Kapitovic a bit of a sniff at trying to win the ball. It's unfortunate he's connected with the ankle of Chiku.
I think he'd be okay with this so far. Just saw Gavin Lee. It is certainly different from how they usually play in the SPL. Loves to try and play on that possession-based game. Not so far.
It could be a bit of a problem because there's at times there's a really big gap between Nakamura and Iman. Just watch the two central midfielders. At times when Albirex are in possession, there's quite a big distance between the number 8 and the number 18. Especially when Yase is pushed on forward.
Dan Bennett will go over Mehmedovic.
You see Fyros operating in that space there. Iman now comes across, yep. But beyond that, just look behind that. There's almost a 3-on-1 over on the far side there. You can't see it on your screen, but I'll try and just help you along because we're here at the venue, which always helps.
I mean, Armin Bosniak at times is almost playing like a wing-back.
Yeah, he's got to drop off into that left wing-back position almost. It's because of how deep kind of being forced to drop off into those areas.
We know, I mean, we certainly saw, as we see...
Yeah, it's a good shift of the ball there by Chiku again. Just sort of that first touch takes it away from the pressure that he was under.
What we saw, Roshan, in that game against Lion City Sailors, we saw the fullbacks go right up, didn't we? Tokiwa especially, and Hashioka especially. And it really is about what you want to do. Do you want to try and catch them the space behind? Do you double up? Talk about your own wide players.
There's a lot of distance to cover. You know, yeah, you can track back and you can, you know, again this comes into that sort of risk-reward thing that I've often talk about. These are the things that you know, you assess and you think of. You know, yeah, Bosniak, he drops off in that deeper position, and sure, he helps you keep track of perhaps a Hashioka defensively, but then when you win it, there's a lot of ground then to cover to get further forward. So again, something you need to sort of plan for. It's got to go Albirex way. And look, the referee will be annoyed with himself. Immediately, he was just thinking, oh, come on. Tried my best to jump out of the way there. And believe me, the referee will be the first to be frustrated with that.
Here's Tezuka. Ong Yuan. Oh, he's done well. Hashioka won't quite get there though. Amirul in the way.
That's a good reading of the game by Amirul. Wow, those 25 minutes have just flown by to me. Suddenly heading off for a bit of a water break here.
What have you made of the first quarter, as it were, Roshan?
Yeah, no, I think we kind of expected this sort of game with Tampines Rovers from what we've seen of them in terms of their setup. The last couple of matches against Lion City Sailors, just sitting back, dropping off a little bit deeper. Here as well against Albirex, and they've limited the chances. I think there's only been one chance so far for Albirex Niigata.
Best chance of the game so far has fallen to Fairoz Hassan.
Yeah, look, it's a really good set-piece routine that for me. Fairoz, his initial starting position is at the far post, closer to goal, and then he just peels off, and he knows that's where the ball's going to be coming from. Let's have a look at him peeling off away there, and that's on purpose. That's deliberate. Something they would have worked on the training ground. It's good variation in the way they set up for the set pieces. Have a look at the fans in the stands here.
Tampines fans, I don't think they've ever quite experienced something like this before. Their club, I think crisis would be a fair way to describe it, Roshan, at the moment, given the high standards that they set themselves.
Yeah, I would say so. They
certainly just want it to be all over, don't they? It has been a nightmare for them. Remember, they only lost 3 games prior to going to Uzbekistan. And since they've come back, well, it's easy to count how many games they've won. It is just 1 match. And that was against Young Lions last week.
I think the worrying thing for Tampines is I don't think they've actually beaten any of the top four this season.
Which is where the league is sort of segregated into, isn't it? The top 4 and bottom 4.
Yep. I was seen to the credit of some of the sides in there, like Tanjung Pagar, for example. They've tried to close that gap between themselves and Tampines Rovers. At one point, the gap between the top 4 and the bottom 4 was pretty distinct.
Correct. And that's a credit to the bottom 4 who really suddenly picked themselves up on the restart.
And look, it's better for the league. It's really good for the league as Tezuka picks it up in that space in midfield again that I was talking about. Yase is having to do a lot of work defensively. He's got his head down a little bit. He's trying to catch his breath here.
Dan Bennett out to Andrew Out, who's given the ball away. In a good position here, Taniguchi. Couldn't quite pull the trigger, he does it now. A sea of bodies in front of him. That's 3 passes now.
Yeah.
Stray passes at the back. I think, was that Baihaki saying just
I think Baihaki just saying to him, just play down the channels to those wider areas. But if they've been instructed to sort of play that way, then, just following instructions, aren't they?
I want to ask you something about that in a minute, Roshan, as we see this corner. Now, Ong Yuan. Baihaki getting perhaps just enough on it. Medovic puts that out of play.
Well, sorry,
go on.
I was just going to say, that was a let-off for Tampines. Again, the delivery on that corner was excellent, whipped in with good pace. Kunimoto was in a bit of space. He could have got his head on the end of that. Made its way all the way across the face of goal.
Yeah, Roshan, when you're given an instruction as they try to break clear here, Kyogo Nakamura's done well. Lovely work from Kyogo Nakamura. And he is brought down. Was that Fairoz who did it, or was it Tezuka? I think Fairoz is having a little chat with the referee.
Yeah, I think Fairoz is the one who took him down there. Really good footwork by Kyoga Nakamura. Again, this is what he's absolutely capable of. Very good on the ball, wonderful in possession. so important to me in how Tampines want to play, that style of play.
Seems to have escaped a yellow card. That was Hassan. Have you ever been in a team where the players around you in your team feel that they don't want to follow the coach's instructions and want to do their own thing? I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Look,
as
I think
former player, I'd love to hear the insight.
I think, you know, the game is about the players. Once you're on the pitch,
Yeah.
you know, you make the decisions, right? Okay, you work in training and your coach will say, this is where we're going to look to try and play the ball into. Find this guy, find that guy. You know, Bennett, when you have the ball in this position, Kyoga, I want you to drop off here, or Mehmedovic, I want you to drop off here, or whatever. So they'll have these sort of routines in mind, but the game is such that it's not predictable, right? In football, there's so many things that could happen. There's so many sort of possibilities in a game of football. So you've also got to just see how that develops and come back into it.
Needed to be a better header, really, didn't it, from Amirul?
So yeah, while you do have your sort of routines or your set plays and things like that, you've also got to allow your players or sort of encourage them in situations where they face certain difficulties to find their own solutions, to find their way out of it. You know, I think, you know, during training sessions, the coach is perhaps 90% responsible for things, and then when it comes to the game, it's the other way around. It's the players who are sort of 90% responsible for the things that happen on the pitch. You know, the game is about the players.
That's a lovely answer, but have you guys ever disobeyed instructions? Well, not instructions, but
maybe not.
The plan, for
not
example.
willingly. I don't think willingly. You know, you don't go out and say we're
No, of course
completely not going to listen to the coach or whatever.
But if it's not working against the team in front of you,
You can vary it.
Yeah.
You know, you're in charge. Your coach
Yeah.
can't do anything from the touchline.
So the
right?
initiative
He's
is not
got
taken away, right?
He's not got a PlayStation control where he's you know, sort of a video game control where he's trying to, you know, say, oh, you run here or you run there, and he can't do that. So
Yeah.
you've got that license to try and make things happen on the pitch. And I think, you know, as a coach as well, it's something you want to encourage, especially for me, if you're a coach in development amongst young players, that's something you want to bring out.
To express
you know,
themselves?
To express themselves.
Yeah.
You know, to say, you know, look, it's okay. You can try these things in these situations. For me, I'm there. I'm giving you these set plays, these routines. These are just ideas for you, ideas of how we can perhaps exploit certain situations. But the game is for you. And how often do we see, I mean, look, a player picks it up and has a shot from range. That's not down to a coaching instruction.
Yeah.
Perhaps it is, maybe it isn't. But, you know, a player picks it up, takes on a couple of defenders, and you've seen that maybe just happen once in the game. Or if you see a repeated pattern, then maybe you say, okay, that's
probably
a pattern they've worked on in training.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated to know what goes on in the mind of players when they feel that whatever they've been told to do isn't quite working for them, whether they feel that they need to, like you say, adapt.
Yeah,
a little bit, right?
And the best players, I think the best players in the world, they adapt to situations on the pitch. They adapt to difficulties on the pitch, and they find solutions. You know, because again, you can analyze opposition and say, this is how they set up. But what happens when, you know, you go on the pitch and they set up a completely different way? Then, you know, you've got to find solutions yourself as well. And yes, your coaching staff or your analyst sitting in the stands will be looking at it and saying, these are the gaps we can exploit. It's a team effort, again. But on the pitch, you know, you absolutely, if you can take that initiative, you know, it sort of sets yourself apart as a player.
Well, they've seen a lot of the ball here. Albirex Niigata still not quite making the inroads yet. There's Kunimoto. Lovely turn from Nagasawa. It's a bit of a drop there, fumble from Shazwan, but he grabs it at the second time of asking.
Bit of a stretch, that one. Shazwan a full stretch. Needed to only pick it up at the second time of asking.
He's pretty small in stature, isn't he, for a goalkeeper?
Yeah. But in our local context, we've had kind of goalkeepers at that height.
Not massive. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember Yazid Yassin as well, who had a really long career in the
Very
league.
long, absolutely. Oh, that's almost loose from Dan Bennett.
And I mean, in an Asian context, it's not like we're blessed with giant outfielders, never mind goalkeepers.
Quick pass there from Nakamura, but given away immediately by Yasser Hanapi. Just about 10 minutes or so left in this first half, and no goals yet here at Jurong East. As it stands, this suits Lion City Sailors. And then, of course, goal difference might come into play. But Albirex Niigata would have looked at this game and thought, well, to be safe, in case anything happens in the last game of the season, we need to get goals here. Certainly that's what Lion City Sailors were doing, Roshan. They were going at Tampines till the very end, weren't they?
Yeah, which is great to see. I mean, you want to see that. If you sense that there's weakness in your opposition, go and absolutely destroy them. And, you know, you're helping your own cause as well because, you know, look, Lion City Sailors are not bothered about what's happening at Tampines Rovers. They're focused on winning the title. And if you can help your goal difference, go on and do it. And put yourselves in a good position to capitalize on that aspect of things.
Here's Tokiwa. So far, it's been fairly solid from Tampines Rovers. Apart from the odd error. But that's what we said in the last game as well. Taniguchi waiting to pull that trigger. He finally does. They won't be too displeased by that, Roshan, if they're resorting to long-range efforts.
No, look, low-quality opportunities, right? That will show up as a shot on the stats, but it's a shot from range. It's a difficult one as well. He's closed down. He's far from goal. The body's in the way. Low-quality chance. That's fine.
Well, look at that. 5 shots so far. 1 semi-high quality chance, Roshan, so far. For
maybe the Fyros one.
Yeah, here we go. Could be an opportunity here. Up the other end for Kapitovic, but he's got 3 guys around him.
It's good work by Kapitovic initially, you know. Just couldn't quite get the ball under control and accelerate away, but what this does is it gives that defense a bit of a breather. It pushes Tampines Rovers up the pitch. Puts a bit of pressure on that Albirex defense now. You know, he's always on the touchline, isn't he, Kevin? Whether it's on level terms, whether they're winning matches, whether they're getting hammered, he's standing up there. And
yeah, he's
fronting
fronting up, right?
He's fronting up. He's not, you know, you can sometimes see, we'll come back to that. Sometimes see coaches perhaps hiding, going to sit back on the bench when the team's not in a good moment. But he's there, willing to take the stick.
Tokiwa. That was about as long a period in the final third as they've had in this entire match so far, Tampines Rovers. Yamashita. Now Chiku. Ashioka is just permanently up there.
That's well defended. Firstly by Bosniak, who makes sure he tracks his man, and he's been doing a good job of that down that side of the pitch.
Yeah.
Make sure that when Hashioka is sort of running in behind, Bosniak is there, and he's dropping off with him. He's following his man. They're doing the basics of defending very well at the moment. You know, making it very tight, very compact between the lines, making sure you're tracking runners off the ball. Because what Albirex will try to do here against this deep, compact defense is they'll try and have runners, third-man runs from deeper positions just to try and break in behind. So you've got to make sure there's no ball watching, that if you're responsible for your man, you keep an eye on him and make sure you follow that run.
Yeah, it is noticeable how deep he's going today, Armin Bosniak. Not something we've seen that often from him.
And eventually the two of them, Bosniak and Amirul, got the job done.
And that is a good output, isn't it, on that right-hand side for Albirex Niigata normally. But here is Kapitovic holding up the ball well. He's done well, hasn't he, Kapitovic? The first save required of Koga. First proper save. And that was all down to good old-fashioned centre-forward play there by Boris Kapitovic. Now Bosniak. Well, some encouraging moments just towards the end of this first half for Tampines Rovers. Here's Mehmedovic.
That's good play by Andrew. Really good play from the young man. Gets his body in the way. He knows he's in a little bit of trouble. He's under pressure. He just protects the pass, protects the ball. Takes the free kick off to Kiwa. Played into him by Mehmedovic. Nice spell of possession here for Tampines. Started off with Kapitovic up front. Doing well just to get them further forward up the pitch. Good pass in behind by Bosniak as well. Just have a look at this. He's always a danger in and around the penalty area. Koga's got to be alert at the near post. Not sure that's a shot. I think he's actually looking to cross it to someone in the box.
Oh, come on, Russian. Let's give them something.
We'll see what the statisticians say about that.
Andrew out. Now Nakamura. Makes the cross. A little bit of sustained pressure here from Tampines. Now Bosniak. Does well here, Bosniak. Can he get the cross in? It's a low one. Oh, that was taken off the feet of Mehmedovic by Yasir. And that still alive. But he was in a good position there. A couple of Albirex players go down. Mehmedovic is going to get carded here. He's not happy about that.
Staffage from the Tampines bench is not happy as well. Has gone over to the fourth official to complain about that. I think the referee's looking at, there was actually two situations there. Bennett's taken down. Was it Taniguchi that he took down? I think it was. Apologies if I've misidentified the player. And then confirmation of that yellow card for Mehmedovic. There were two instances there where the counter-attack, they were looking to try and stop it.
This is much better, isn't it, for Tampines, from an attacking sense, Roshan?
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, nice bit of encouragement for them. And as I said, just gives that defense a chance to just cool off. They've had a lot of work to do. The midfield has had to work really hard. Kyoga, Iman, Armin Bosniak, all shifting across. Mehmedovic as well. There you're going to see just Mehmedovic here, making sure he's keeping an eye on Nagasawa. He just dropped infield. Make sure he closed that space inside first, and then as the ball traveled across, he came out.
Now Kapitovic.
Good
Done
touch.
well again.
Yep, good play by Kapitovic.
Nakamura out wide to Bosniak. There's Mehmedovic. This has been a good 7-minute spell or so for Tampines Rovers. You'll recall, Roshan, that not only did they have these sort of spells against Lion City Stars, they actually had very decent shooting opportunities as well. Scoring opportunities,
Yes,
I should say.
I think Bosniak had a couple of chances in that game. And they couldn't quite, again, score in those key moments. But I don't think they've had really good opportunities. Don't think they've had anything really of note in attacking sense in this first half. But defensively, they've done a good job so far.
So Kiwa They certainly don't want to be conceding right at the end of the first half. Here's Taniguchi. Relief for Tampines Rovers. Just about 20 seconds or so left in this first half.
Good save. Was that a save by Shazwan? They worked this ball really well into the box here. Oh no, it's a block. Blocked by... trying to see who that is. It's a Baihaki. Blocked by Baihaki there, just in front of Shazwan. Important that they got bodies in front of that shot.
Puff in the cheeks there from Shazwan. Been an interesting first half so far, but one in which we have seen no goals so far.
Yeah, and look, there's not been anything of note from either of these two sides. Chances have been limited. It's a credit to Tampines. They're working very hard defensively. They're just trying to make sure that they're not easy to sort of pick apart. And Albirex again, that rhythm in those attacking areas, it's very difficult for them to try and build anything with how well Tampines are defending here. But look, we know the changes that are going to be made. Don't be surprised to see Kuraba Kondo and Kiyoshiro Silboy coming on in the second half for Albirex, and then Tampines will have different questions to answer.
So, no goals at the moment here at Jurong East Stadium. The score at halftime in the AIA Singapore Premier League is Albirex Niigata 0, Tampines Rovers 0. It's halftime here at Jurong East Stadium between Albirex Niigata and Tampines Rovers. Not for lack of trying, of course. They've been working hard, Albirex Niigata, Russian, but they haven't created that many opportunities, have they?
No, nothing of real note, nothing too dangerous. I think there was an opportunity from Fairoz Hassan that perhaps was about it. This one that we're going to see here, a clear set piece routine as he peels off away from that far post. He's in acres of space, has the time to just chest it down and have a shot at goal. Unfortunately for him, it comes back off the post and goes wide. But otherwise, Tampines Rovers have been defensively very good, decent in this first half.
Yeah, the only times they really got themselves into trouble was from their own errors.
From their own errors in these situations where they're trying to build up from the back. But you see very quickly how they recover, how they get numbers and bodies in the box there, how they make sure that they've got themselves in front of positions where they can block shots. So yeah, there have been a couple of errors when they have played out from the back. But what's important is once you do make that error, that you get yourself back into a defensive position, into that shape very quickly.
He's always a live wire, isn't he, Taniguchi? But if this is as good as it's got so far for them, they won't be too happy.
Exactly, these are the sorts of opportunities. And I touched on it when I was doing the commentary, saying that it's a low-quality chance from range. Defenders in front of you, he's off balance as he hits it. If he scores from there, you hold your hands up and say, look, that was a special moment from a player. But if you can limit opposition to those types of attempts from range, then that's a good sign.
As the half progressed, just towards the last, almost 7-8 minutes of the half, Tampines started to show what they can do going forward.
Yeah, and I think, Kopitovic has done a good job for them. He's had limited sort of opportunities to get involved just because of how Tampines have set up and how deep they are, and they're working on that defensive side of the game a little bit more. But when he has been able to receive it in those attacking positions, he has caused a few issues for Albirex, and he's held the ball up well for Tampines at times. So I think he's one of those that's had a good game with limited service up front.
Roshan mentioned the number of bodies in the way. This is just another example of that, isn't it?
Yeah, look, again, yes, Albirex did well from that left-hand side to make a way through into the box, and there was a shot from Taniguchi, just as he pops up here on the edge of the box. But look at how quickly those Tampines defenders are around him, and Baihaki is just in the way there, making sure that he provides a block, so Shazwan doesn't actually have a save to make. So defensive work rate has been very good in the opening 45 from Tampines Rovers.
So there you have it, the stats at half-time. Roshan, I want to hear that phrase from you, high-quality chances. Have you had many of them?
There haven't been any real high-quality chances. 6 shots for Albirex, none of them on target. Tampines getting enough bodies in the way, blocking off those opportunities, blocking off those chances. The defensive discipline has been very good. And again, something that I mentioned in commentary, players tracking and making sure they're following runners off the ball as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, and we saw a good defensive display against the Lion City Sailors in the last game.
Yeah.
They conceded in that one. Closer towards halftime, what kind of response do we get from them in the second half? Because as I said, I think Albirex will make those changes with Kondo and Siboy coming in. And then that defense is going to have different sort of, the Tampines team rather is going to have different sort of questions to answer.
Those are the rather predictable changes that Albirex are going to make. Yeah. We're almost sure of it at half-time. Yeah. What about for Tampines Rovers? They only have Taufik Suparno and Irwan Shah as their 2 senior players. Yeah. Would you think that they would come on now or not? Because defensively, the shape has been quite decent.
I wouldn't mess about too much just yet. I don't think there's a need to. I think the team's working well together. They sort of adjusted. There was a bit of a gap between Iman and Kyoga Nakamura at times in central midfield, but they sort of adjusted that as well. They try and close it off a little bit more. At times, Yase does drop into those areas. So I think it's going well for them. It's flowing well for them in terms of their plan, in terms of the defensive plan in the first half. So I don't think they need to make too many changes at the moment.
Well, as it stands, this is good news for Lion City Sailors. If Tampines Rovers can hold out or even get a goal on the break, let's wait to see what happens in the second half. Do stay with us. That'll be coming up very shortly indeed. We are back here for the second half of that SPL match between Albirex Niigata and Tampines Rovers, who've come out a lot earlier than the opposition. Maybe a statement of intent, but for the fans, Roshan, there are some positive signs from this side.
From Tampines, yes. You know, I think they will look at that and they'll think, look, that's good organization at the back now. They've kept things tight against the league leaders, and especially with all the difficulties that they've had so far this season and coming into this, the pressure that's been put on them. Reports in the media of what's going on behind the scenes at Tampines Rovers. You know, sometimes that can have a bit of a rallying effect on sides. You know, Gavin can use that as a way of sort of saying to his players, look, this is what they're saying about us. This is what's being written about us. And perhaps an opportunity for him to go to his players and say, let's show what we've got these last 2 games of the season. You know, don't go out on a whimper. And so far it's looked good, but we've seen them collapse in the second half of matches. And, you know, again, they're going to have these different challenges in the second 45. Let's see how they sort of respond to that and how they deal with these situations.
All right, now what we are watching is them in a little huddle. The team by Haki Kazan was having a few words, and they've made no changes, as you and I were discussing in halftime, Roshan, and no real need to either.
Yeah, no need to. I mean, if it's going well, then why do you need to disrupt it? You know, you don't make changes for the sake of making them, unless of course you're leading and it's into stoppage time at the end of the game and you're trying to just kill the rhythm, kill a bit of time. But that's not been the case here. They look organized defensively.
Albirex Niigata do tend to make changes at half-time. And there's no surprises. Once again, Kuraba Kondo is going to come on, as is Kiyashiro Tsuboi. They tend to come on at the break. And it's Ong Yuan who will make way. That is usually the change that is made. Japanese youth international Kuraba Kondo, who has scored plenty of goals against Singapore in the past. They've taken off Fairoz Hassan as well. And at one point, the league's top scorer, Kiyashiro Tsuboi, before he got injured in May. 11 goals in 10 games was how it looked at that point. Who knows where it would have been if he'd stayed on.
It would have been a fascinating battle between him and Tomoyuki Doi in the scoring charts. And of course, some of the other players around there. Kapitovic is in there. Sime Zuzul in there as well. Luis Junior there. I mean, not as close to these other guys as I think he would have liked, but would have been nice and competitive with Tsuboi fit.
So it will be, for all intents and purposes, a stronger Albirex that will come out now in the second half. We saw what Kondo and Tsuboi did. They created a lot of opportunities, didn't they, against Lion City Sailors in that second half at Jalan Besar Stadium. And they certainly stretched that defence as well. Tampines Rovers will know they have their work cut out for them in this second half.
Why does it sound like You'll Never Walk Alone?
It
being
does.
sung by the Tampines Rovers fans.
It does.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Hey, good on you. At least they're making themselves heard, adding to the atmosphere here. Lots of clubs around the world that that use that song. It's not just the team in red that we're all thinking of.
I don't know.
Ballister Khalsa?
Looking for a good segue to get back into the commentary after that. Here's Kapitovic, thankfully. Nakamura. Bit of space there, actually, was nice for Yasser Hanapi. There they are, the fans.
Well done, you know. Really, really well done.
After everything that has happened in the last 3 months, Roshan.
Yeah. And listen, I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but it's great to see them out here and supporting the team, both these sets of fans and fans across the league as well. And we'll be in attendance over the weekend.
Yeah, I've got to say, you know, it's really good to see from the Tampines fans. Despite everything that has happened, they've stuck with the team, though. That's what you want to see. It flies over. Kept in by Hashioka. Here's Chiku. Away by Mehmedovic. There has been talk in that same article in the press today about some big changes in the club personnel-wise. Here's Hashioka with that cross. Oh, and he got just in front of the man there. Or did he? Shazwan Buhari.
The referee's pointing for a goal kick there.
Tsuboi.
I mean, Tsuboi is got to go for it. It's good bit of movement from Tsuboi. You just have a look at that run. That's a fantastic run by Tsuboi. Wonderful movement in the box. He just drops into that blind side of the defender there, Dan Bennett. Just goes in behind him and then attacks the space in front of him after that. Bennett's just watching the ball at the cross ball, watching a little bit. Then Tsuboi sneaks across. It's fortunately for them, he's not able to direct that cross into the back of the net. But it's really good centre forward movement in the penalty area.
There is very little movement at the moment. Okay, but there
Thumbs
is a
up.
thumbs up, thankfully.
All right.
Otherwise, it will be the youngster Daniel Ilya who would have to come on. Well, Tsuboi is still there. He's wondering if the keeper should be stretched off. But we got the thumbs up, so it should be fine. Just flexing his arm.
Don't worry, he's only leaving the pitch to pick up the ball. Obviously, you can't ask your goalkeeper to leave the field of play after treatment, just in case it wasn't obvious.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. So some of you out there, you know, just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
That has just gone out of play. Oh, trying the old tricks there. It kind of worked for Bosniak. Kapitovic. Well, they've done well. They've done really well.
Yeah, they've kept it well down that left-hand side. 3 against 2 between them, Kapitovic and Bosniak. Kapitovic was eventually winning the free kick here. It's a bit unfortunate, perhaps. Yosuke Nagasawa, he did get the ball first. Anyway, something for them to deal with here.
Oh, you can get the likes of Kapitovic, Bosniak, Dan Bennett, Baihaki Kaizan. Will get involved with this. Here's Yasser Hanapi. What you don't want to do is be giving it straight to the keeper in one of your rare free kicks in an attacking area.
The difference in set piece quality we've seen with Albirex put in some wonderful deliveries, and then that's that example I was talking about where you've got a set piece in a good position, but it's completely wasted straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. Set pieces, especially corners at one time in football, it's kind of neglected a little bit in the sense that you didn't really create too many good opportunities from these set piece situations, but the game's grown in a way now where there's more focus being paid, more attention being paid on set pieces, on corner routines and things like that, and we're starting to see sides around the world, benefit from that.
There's Kondo.
And for me, sorry, Shez, I think for me, Albirex are one of the sides that in the league who, really work at the set piece routines, and they have the quality to deliver in key areas, and they've benefited from that.
So, because of those changes that we said, Nagasawa has come onto this right-hand side. Kondo out on the left. Up top will be Tsuboi and Nagasawa. Excuse me, Tsuboi and Taniguchi. And what's interesting, Roshan, is that Mehmedovic, who was playing nominally on the right-hand side in the first half, has gone over to the left. Just wonder, is that to keep an eye on Nagasawa? He's now moved across.
No, I think it was just in the moment that he perhaps had to come across for a bit. He's gone back out onto that right-hand side.
Because you'd think Kondo would be... He was quite an outlet, wasn't he? They were looking to him quite a bit in that last game against Lion City Sailors.
And he will be, again, for Albirex here.
Here's by Haki.
Not taking any chances there, just putting it out of play under pressure from Tsuboi.
Well, it was around this time in the last game against Lion City Sailors where things went very, very wrong for Tampines Rovers. They had scored a goal just before that in the 51st. It was an own goal. Now Kapitovic on the break. Has to hold the ball up. Not too many players going forward.
Well done, well played by Boris Kapitovic. Again, he had really no choice. He was just closed off. He had to turn back around and look for that support and hang on to it. He did his job really well and then moved it out to the left-hand side for a bit of free space. Then he was able to just pick it up again. Now Tampines have got a chance to build something themselves.
All the way back to Shazwan. They've looked pretty comfortable so far in the second half. There's that one moment where Shazwan was beaten to the ball by Tsuboi, but there was no danger in the end. That's about it. Chiku, now Nagasawa. This is Hashioka. Kunimoto. There's Kuraba Kondo. A little touch on by Tokiwa to him. Ball in, that's a free header. Head in the hands for Tsuboi. He knows how good a chance that should have been for him.
Again, it's good movement from Tsuboi. Just have a look at him here, just standing in behind by Haki. They get dragged across there. They've got numbers. They've got orange shirts in the box to take Bennett and Baihaki away from the ball, away from the cross as it comes in. It's a mismatch, isn't it? Tsuboi up against Amirul. Unfortunately, the connection, the timing of the header was just off from Tsuboi. Almost connected too early with it.
That is the impact these two can make coming off the bench. So a bit of a let-off there for Tampines Rovers. Iman. Still playing pretty assured football, Tampines Rovers. Here's Kyoga Nakamura up towards Yasser. Still Yasser. Now Kapitovic trying to cut back in. Yasser being willed on by his fans.
I feel like that positivity is just growing a little bit more, especially in the stands here, responding to the efforts of their team.
That can all be undone in seconds. They've got to be careful at the back as they come forward again. Albirex Niigata. A lot of work here to do for Armin Bosniak. Cross is put in by Kondo. Away by Haki. Now Bosniak. Hashioka has the ball for Albirex Niigata. Was there a little tickle there from Kyoga Nakamura? Who's just walked away from the referee.
A good touch on there and pass into Nagasawa. Quick one-touch football. It was taken out by Nakamura initially, and there was a bit of a kick into the back from Amirul there.
On the Albirex side now, they're trying to rouse the troops from this free kick. And they fashion goal number 1. Straight to Shazwan from
Yeah.
Tezuka.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to catch the goalkeeper off guard.
Bit cheeky, that one.
Yeah, he was trying to be cheeky with that. Just Shazwan expecting the cross. And he had to just readjust his feet, just shuffle across. There was space to hit from Tezuka. It's not quite wide enough to sort of really trouble Shazwan. Decent idea.
Nine shots to 1, according to our official stats. But as has been pointed out, how many has really troubled Shazwan Buhari? How many have been really, really good or high quality chances, to quote my co-commentator?
You're starting to use that now.
I am now, it's catching.
I'm having an effect.
Now Kuraba Kondo loves to run at players. Quick cross in. That's away by Dan Bennett. There's quite the crowd out in the stadium, as you can see. There are limits, of course, to how many can enter at the moment. And they'll be watching a very patient Albirex Niigata, trying to probe away at a stubborn and a resolute Tampines Rovers, who've held out for an hour now.
I'm really enjoying this game, you know. I know there haven't been much in terms of clear-cut opportunities or not much excitement in that sense, in the traditional sense. But there's a lot riding on this game, and it looks it at the moment. And, you know, I'm enjoying this little tactical battle, this little tactical puzzle that Shigetomi is going to have to solve here to, you know, try and find the win. Lion City Sailors players watching on, how are your nerves?
It must be. Well, they're not leaving anywhere. They're not getting out their seats till the 100th minute, if there was that, if it goes that long.
Yeah.
Because they will know all too well what this Albirex Niigata side can do. Here is Nagasawa. Feeding it through to Taniguchi. Overlapping run from Hashioka. And that's an important touch on from Shazwan Buhari.
Good save and good defending. Dan Bennett there. Such an important clearance away. They work this one really well, Albirex. From left to right, they get that overlapping run. Taniguchi plays it into Hashioka. It's pushed away right into the middle of the 6-yard box. Thankfully for him, Bennett's there to clear it away.
Now, set pieces. They have been good at these. Albirex Niigata.
Oh. Wow, did Bennett just get a touch on that? Because if he did, it was an important one. Yeah, he did. So, Suboy was charging into the box there, Shez.
That's where they are dangerous. I have to say, Tampines have been good value in the sense that they've been relatively solid at the back, trying to create. I mean, they came with a game plan today, Rush, and they've stuck to it.
Yeah, look, it's good to see. And they came with that game plan against the Lion City Sailors as well, before we saw that collapse in the second half. So it's good to see that, they're sticking to it here.
Yeah.
I know the discipline is being maintained. They're working hard. They're continuing to try and close the gaps, making it very difficult for Albirex.
Just remind you, Roshan just mentioned Lion City Sailors players watching this. If this ends in a draw, they'll be 3 points ahead of Lion City Sailors, who then take on Geylang International. If they go on to win that game, they're all level on points. It will then come down to the final day. It will come down to the final day anyway, you'd think, if Lion City win that game anyway. But
yeah,
it would just make it more interesting.
It would.
And then it could well be down to goal difference.
And look, I think for us, we're neutral. We don't mind the drama and the excitement. We don't mind it going down to the final day of the season.
Hey, you and me are going to be doing one of the 2 games that are probably going to be with the title. So
they got to get a helicopter here for us to
and a guy to engrave
engrave the trophy. Yeah.
Looking forward to that. And a reminder to everyone that the final day of the season has been postponed from the 2nd to the 10th of October. Because of some of those games that have been postponed will have to be played for Geylang International and Balisa Khalsa. Here's Kunimoto. Nagasawa, or rather Taniguchi. Yasser back to Shazwan. Excellent work so far from Tampines Rovers. They've done well, haven't they, to play that out from the back, and good touch on from Kapitovic.
Oh, that's a wonderful challenge by Ryo Kunimoto. He shouldn't have been favourite to the ball, Kunimoto, but he comes across and wins it very well. But look, how good was that from Tampines Rovers? How sweet was that? The way they just played out from under that pressure, deep in their own half. They kept their composure, kept their confidence, kept their heads, and played it out and almost carved out an opportunity down the other end of the pitch.
Roshan, from a tactical point of view now, because they've been pretty solid and the shape has been there, they're moving across the pitch quite nicely. Is that why do you think Gavin's not making the changes? The only thing would be tired legs.
Yeah, the only thing would be, you probably want to think about freshness of some of these players. Otherwise, again, they've worked really well together as a unit here tonight. They've kept their shape well. And I don't think there's a real need at the moment, to just confuse things or to change things up, as Kapitovic again does very well to win a free kick for his side. Just felt a bit of a tug from Yamashita. Took that as an invitation to go down.
There is Yasser. Armin Bosniak. Got away with that one. Iman.
He's looked much better here tonight, Iman. And I think, you know, the key for him at this point where he's perhaps not in his best moment, not playing the best of football. I know he gets very active and he tries to help Tampines to make things happen, but I think in these situations where he just keeps his game simple, it works out a lot better for him, you know, as he's growing and gaining in that experience. Just keeping the game very simple. He's just being tidy with the ball. He's moving it along nice and easy. Not trying to be too, make things too complicated with his passing. And then working hard defensively as well. When we talk about changes, I think we're about to see one from Tampines Rovers.
Haki. Here's Yasser. He's done well. Hold on to the ball. Now Bosniak. They're happy to just stroke it around at the moment. Don't want to overcommit themselves. Yes, Amirul. Amirul plays the cross in, and Koga. A lot of height on that one.
Good display by Tampines so far, you know. A club in crisis at the moment. And we've seen this from Balestier Khalsa against Tampines Rovers. You remember that whole issue with Zaiful Nizam?
Yeah.
The whole issue that they had. And
they responded the very next game.
They responded the very next game.
Yeah.
You know, and there was some criticism as well. I think people were expecting them to get hammered against Tampines Rovers, and they had named, the entire bench was full of under-23 players, and pre-match there were lots of people talking about how they expected a heavy defeat. But it was the Tigers who won that match quite comfortably in the end.
That's scrambled away by Kyoga Nakamura. I saw something online, Roshan, in the build-up to this game where someone said they've been obviously not very happy as we see this chance.
Yeah, Yamashita just playing it over the top for Taniguchi. Decent take on his chest. Just again, that discipline that Tampines have shown defensively to make sure they track runners. On that occasion, again, Nakamura making sure he tracked the run of Taniguchi, and that's why he was able to just get it out for a corner here.
That's solid from Yasser, but it's still with Albirex Niigata. Here's Nagasawa. Now Kondo. Lots of bodies in and around the box. Out wide. And away by Haki. Tezuka. Flag has stayed down. There were a couple of hands that went up by Chiku. And straight to Shazwan. Yeah, I saw something, Roshan, online where a fan was obviously very not happy and very unhappy with Tampines Rovers and said they were the butt of many football fans' jokes at the moment.
Yeah.
But said that the one thing that they could make up that would change everything would be to hold Albirex Niigata tonight, or to take points off them, and they'd become instant heroes for in the league. For obviously trying to give Lion City Setters a chance to win the league.
Lots of Singapore football fans out there who are cheering on Tampines Rovers here tonight as Iman gets taken out in midfield. Again, good play by Iman. Look, I think it's absolutely
There's
brilliant.
an element of that, right?
No, yeah, and it's brilliant that we're getting so much involvement now. People are talking about the game, and just Iman again. That's good play. You know what he does there is initially Tezuka thinks, there's a chance for me to sneak in and win the ball, but he just turns away. Has a look over his shoulder very quickly. Iman has a good scan over his shoulder, sees where Tezuka's coming from, and turns away from him. He's just getting encouraged here by Yasir Hanapi as well. But. Look, I think it's fantastic that people are talking about the game, talking about the league, and both sides, right? Whether it's the positive things or the negative things, you want that sort of engagement to come across, and And then it's brilliant because it shows that people care about Singapore football. It's not dead. You know, we've got fans out here coming out to support the league. We've got people talking about it. We've got viewers watching the games. As Iman Hakim puts in a very good shift and gets his chance to take a bit of a break here as more experience comes into the side in Irwan Shah.
Yeah, from Singapore international Irwan Shah. And left back by trade, and you'd imagine that Amirul just goes further up, or no?
I think Irwan could just actually sit in midfield, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Interesting. He is going to do that. I've seen him do that, I think, a couple times before.
Yeah, he can. And I mean, again, the profile is going to be a little bit different, but he's just going to have to do a shift, put in a shift for them defensively. He can be decent enough on the ball. Irwan, at times anyway, when he starts at left back for Tampines, the way that they sort of play is that he's asked to sort of drift
Tuck in,
inside,
right? Yeah.
tuck in field and help with their build-up. So it's not a position that's going to be entirely sort of alien to him.
There's Kondo. That's Suboi. Back to his fellow substitute. Came on the same time as him at the start of the second half. This is, I mean, it is going to get very tense in the last 10 if there's still no goals. Amirul, that's that roll out of play. Again, Roshan, has chance one been tested for you today?
I can't remember too many real opportunities where he's had to make a save. Oh, well, there was one where that cross from Hashioka came across the box. Remember that? Where he had to just palm it out and that was cleared by Dan Bennett.
Otherwise, he's not really been called into action, has he? It's pleasing, I sense, from Tampanese's point of view, that Albirex, who have to go for a win here, really, just to make things more comfortable for them on the final day, are not able to really penetrate this defense yet. Here's Irwan Shah, who can put a good cross in. It comes off Kapitovic rather than him actually heading the ball.
Yeah, it just sort of kind of fell onto his head, really, rather than him sort of being able to generate any kind of power on that attempt. But again, you know, look, if you're Tampines, you'll take that. Another opportunity.
Hashioka trying to turn his man. Gets the cross in! That's a great save. The header flicked on by Suboi.
That's a very good save by Shazwan. Really good save. And as you said, perhaps he hasn't had too much to do in goal, and you had to be alert to that. Look at Suboi again. Have a look at his run. This is fantastic running from the centre forward. Really good movement. Again, he catches the defence flat-footed. Just sneaks in at the near post there. Baihaki's ball watching. He doesn't have a good look at where Subboi's position is, and Subboi takes advantage of that to get his header at the near post. A great save by Shazwan, who gets his arms up very quickly.
Off the crossbar. Well, we said they would try to ramp up the pressure.
Is this going to be one of them days? Here's a look at that again. Makes its way, flicked on at the near post initially, and then Kunimoto. It's unfortunate for him.
Well, we're talking about good chances created, high quality chances, to quote someone I know. And we've had two of them, Roshan.
The mystery man.
Two of them in the space of, well, in as many minutes.
Yep. Big chances for Albirex there. Again, they've just gotten away with that one. First, really good piece of goalkeeping by Shazwan, and the second one having to thank the frame of the goal.
Here is Irwan Shah.
Oh, that's
Nakamura, lovely play. Nakamura. Bosniak. He's gone for goal.
That's wonderful from Tampines. Wonderful play in possession. And that pass initially, the positioning of Nakamura, he was just in behind Albirex' midfield there. And a good pass played into him. That pass that split that midfield line.
Well, this is really becoming quite the battle, isn't it? I know Roshan was talking about what a good tactical affair it was. It's kind of opened up a bit here.
Oh, I don't know if his hamstring's gone here. He's just gone down after that challenge, shoulder to shoulder with Tezuka. And they're just going to play on, which is his absolute right to.
They're not interested.
Well,
Okay, well, in the end, Tokiwa does put it out of play.
listen, Yasu's having a go at Tezuka. But Tezuka's explaining that, you know, he charged into me and he got himself injured. And look, players don't have to put the ball out of play. Referee's there. If he thinks it's serious, let him stop the match.
Yeah, under no obligation whatsoever. Now,
Bennett's gone down as well. Just having a bit of a lie down.
well, I saw him earlier with one of the clearances he made. He was kind of clutching his groin at one point. I don't know if that's related. Probably not.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, just wonder. Oh,
was that? Yeah, he's feeling his groin again.
Well, you don't want to lose one of your main defenders and your striker.
Something you're going to have to think about here, because I think Taufik Suparno is getting ready to come on.
Seems okay, but I wonder whether, like you said, some fresh legs. Here's that chance, Roshan.
Well, again, just flicked on at the near post by Yamashita, and then his central defensive partner, Kunimoto.
Oh, it's Yasser who's going to go off, and Taufik. So straight swap for like. Captain's armband passes over to Dan Bennett. His final, well, let's say about 15 minutes or so in this match, including some added time. Can they hold on? Singapore football fans, the island over, will be very much enthralled by this. It has become quite a contest here. There have been chances at either end. Kopitovic is back on the pitch, we can report. There's a foul on Irwan Shah, or rather on Amirul. Hope people didn't catch that.
Few shots from the stands. The Tampines fans have been in really good voice. They've been singing along in this second half, all the way through, almost actually. Brilliant. Albirex fans trying to respond here as well.
Yeah, they've got to do everything they can, these Albirex fans. I mean, remember those scenes, Roshan, in the 94th minute at Jalan Besar a week ago?
Yeah.
When they got that
Brilliant.
equaliser. Wow.
Just that roar, right, from the fans who were sitting on
our right.
On our right.
Yeah.
Remember, they were jumping up and down and just really enjoying that equaliser.
We've got the cheerleaders as well. Oh, there's a chance there. Oh, it's just wide. Kuraba Kondo misses the target.
Andrew Au's gone down here. Again, Suboy, his positioning is just excellent. You know, he's always getting himself into really good positions. They just have to find him with the service, which they're doing constantly. Intelligent header back into Taniguchi, and then Kuraba Kondo. Probably he'll feel that he needed to get that one on target and open the scoring for Albirex Niigata. They're hanging on here, Tampines Rovers.
Well, they have, thankfully for them, got one more change in store. If anything happens here to Andrew Au. No, I just wonder if there's a little bit of gamesmanship going on. No, they are going to make a change. Remember, the rest of their bench are all under 23 players. It is a thin squad.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to continue. I think it's going to be Mark Ryan Tan who could come on. Then we'll perhaps see a bit of a reshuffle here. Maybe Irwan goes out to right back. Mehmedovic comes into midfield alongside Nakamura. And then Mark Tan goes and plays on that right-hand side. He's asking for them to call off the substitution now.
Well, will he do it or not?
Yeah, he's okay to go.
He's going to continue.
Mark's just being
You
told
might as well
to-
keep an actual right back on, right, Roshan? Probably for now.
I mean, Irwan could go
Yeah, he
over
could.
there. There could be,
He could.
He could reshuffle it. But Andrew's been doing really well. So if he's feeling comfortable, then yeah, stay on and carry on.
Oh, we're going to have late drama here at Jurong East, like we did a week ago at Jalan Besar.
Just imagine it being in the script somewhere. Albirex scoring another late goal here to win this one.
Boy, that would break a lot of hearts. And again, I think I said it the other day, you'd almost rather, if you're going to concede, do it much earlier in the game rather than right at the end. Tokiwa's ball just comes off Andrew Au. Here it's Tawfik Soprano, fresh pair of legs that he brings. Kondo, though, wins the ball back. Early cross in.
That's much better defending on that occasion by Haki. Just make sure he's keeping track of where Kiyoshiro Surboy is. Andrew's gone down again. A ball might be coming out here. We're going to get a ball to take home now.
Damn.
Couldn't quite reach the commentary position.
I'll tell you what, look at the crowds out there. They are
It's not even going to be
treated
it's
for
going to
this.
be Amir actually.
Amir Mirza. It's, well, it looks like cramp at the moment. Is he going to continue? No, it does look like Amir Mirza is going to come on.
18 years old.
Good shift for Andrew Au today. He found it obviously a lot harder against Lion City Sailors. So we're just going to see the tweak, and as you had predicted, Irwan Shah is now at right back.
Now it's Amir that goes into central midfield. Debut for the young man. Big last few minutes for him.
No pressure.
Oh. First touch for him. He was just trying to play in Bosniak into a bit of space behind. And Taufik's done well to charge that one down. Okay, it's gone out for a goal kick, sure, but what it does is it allows Tampines to just get themselves back into a defensive shape, delays things a little bit, and get themselves reorganized. And Bosniak is dropping out into a left wing-back position almost here, making sure he's keeping track of Hashioka, and he's done that really well for most of this game.
Here's Kondo. By Haki, puts that out of play, will be a corner.
Well done by Haki. Again, he just has a look at where Surboy is, gets himself into a really good position to flick it away from danger. Surboy's movement in the box has been very good. It's caused a few issues for the Tampines defense on that occasion. Haki was on hand, read the game well. Read the situation well, I should say. Headed away.
That's Tawfik. Kondo again. Puts his early balls in. Solid punch from Shazwan. Nakamura clears. Surging forward, look at where the skipper is, Hashioka. Now on the left-hand side for the moment. Kondo, now Hashioka, right across the face of the goal. Nervy moments.
Living on the edge here. And now Dan Bennett's gone down holding his groin. There's another look at that. Good work down the left-hand side. Dangerous ball. Played across the 6-yard box by Hashioka. Surboy is just frustrated with himself that he's not gambled and gone on to meet it.
Just saw a little bit of a smirk on Dan Bennett's face as he was talking to Mehmedovic.
Just helps to drop the tempo a little bit as we have a look at Andrew Au there just for the moment. Had a really good game at right back. Young players have done well for Tampines.
Well, these guys will be absolutely delighted if they can snatch a point from Albirex Niigata, because to be fair, I don't think many people would have given them a hope today of doing so. But there has been a reaction, a positive reaction from Tampines Rovers. It's not easy, Roshan, to have to play both first and second in the space of a few days.
Especially to get yourself up for this one, having been thumped by Lion City Sailors.
Reminder again, 3 minutes plus added time. If this ends in a goalless draw, that is very good news for Lion City Sailors. They are right back in the hunt. They still have to do the business, of course, against Geylang International. And they will have the edge in the goal difference department by just one. If they win that game, and of course, depends on their margin of victory. If they win it, it will come down to the final day of the season. So it is tantalizingly poised at the moment. Reminder, Lion City Sailors play Balasa Khalsa on the last day of the season on the 10th. Albirex are here against Tanjong Pagar. Well, Roshan, 5 minutes from now, hopefully we'll be having that kind of scenario where we can really be on tenterhooks for the final day. But they've got this free kick first to negotiate. Flicked on into grateful arms of Shazwan Buhari.
Yeah, it's swung in again. It could have fallen. You know, if it's your day, that falls to an orange shirt. And they've had several opportunities in the second half now, where they've had the chances to find the back of the net. Hasn't quite happened just yet. And it's getting to that point where you start to, on the outside anyway, start to think that maybe it's just not their day. It's not their night.
Did we think that the other day, though, against Lion City Sailors? Remember, at the end of this, we'll have post-match analysis with Roshan. Look back at some of the highlights as well. Can they hold out? Just a few minutes left for Tampines Rovers. We're about to hit the 90th minute. Taniguchi, touch on from Nakamura. Forward by Mehmedovic. Well, it's 5 minutes of added time. That's the last thing anyone who's not an Albirex fan wants to see. Shigatomi just urging his players forward. Mehmedovic, now by Haki. Now Kapitovic. He's done well here, Kapitovic. Oh, that was a good run by Amir. Will they want to commit so many bodies forward in these final minutes? Coming together, that goes Tampines' way. Take it quickly. ball was moving.
Yeah, a couple of things, I think. But the referee could have taken his pick between not the right spot and ball was moving.
Tsuboi clattering.
Amir. Well, they've done in LCS here. Normally when they're chasing a goal, Lion City Sailors push Georges Felipe up front. Albirex here have put Yamashita, the central defender, up top. It's a challenge and try and win things in the air.
There's Dan Bennett up in the air. Taufik, no foul, says the referee. Not too many bodies to aim at. Easy for Koga. It's 4 against 3 at the moment up top, but they're going to keep pushing. Launched towards Kunimoto, Yamashita, excuse me.
That's exactly why he's there, to win it in the air. But they'd want him to be just heading it back across the face of goal in those situations.
Well, look back at this. Remember, they looked to be out of the count in that game against Lion City Sailors. They got that last gasp goal. So you could say, in many ways, it is all square with that situation. They managed to take points off Lion City Sailors in that instance. Here's Taufik Suparno. Taufik, the shot is blocked. They go forward again. Kuraba Kondo leading the charge. Here's Tsuboi.
Good challenge by Amirul.
He liked that, didn't he?
A response from the crowd and from the bench as well.
That's good to see.
Say, celebrating a challenge, defensive challenge, and a challenge that wins possession back for Tampines.
That should be straightforward. Well, nothing is straightforward, is it? Nagasawa couldn't quite get the touch he wanted.
And it's not your day, it's not your day. Again, this falls into him and he wants to hit it first time, but he completely misjudges the connection with the ball. He just takes his eye off it for a split second.
That could have gone anywhere. We are into the last minute of this match with a minimum of 5, remember. A huge, huge result. We're on the cusp of it. Here's Mehmedovic. He's got Irwan Shah in front of him. Now Taufik. No one there. Did he even look up? That has given the ball away. By Haki.
That's a brilliant clearance by Haki. Just smash it up the pitch as far as you possibly can. Put it out of play. Get yourselves back in defensive shape. See this one out.
Last few seconds here.
I thought that was a final whistle.
Go. That should help Tampines Rovers with the free kick here.
Mehmedovic has got a smile on his face there.
They will take as long as they can with this one. Referee, I'm sure, will be ready to blow the whistle at any moment. And that is it. It's a huge point, not just for the title race, but Roshan, it is a big point for Tampines Rovers as well.
It is, certainly is. You see the reaction from the stands, and it's not just the fans who were reacting. It was the management of Tampines who was celebrating that point. Wonderful response by the Stags. Lots of criticism coming their way. Very disappointing result against the Lion City Sailors. losing by 6-1, and they responded really well here. I mean, they stuck to the game plan all the way through. Brilliant defensive display by Tampines Rovers, frustrated Albirex Niigata. You have to say in the second half, the league leaders created enough opportunities. They just couldn't quite find the finishing touch when it mattered. And it's given the Lion City Sailors a lot of hope now going into their game.
Thank you very much, Rish Roshan Rai. And an entertaining match, one which so much was placed upon it. Albirex Niigata tried and tried, couldn't get the magic goal that they needed to put themselves on driving seat for the final day of the season. Tampines Rovers hung on. And the final score here at Jurong East Stadium is Albirex Niigata 0, Tampines Rovers 0.
Well, just a look at the stats there at the end of this match as well. Albirex Niigata with 14 shots, 4 of those on target. There were good quality opportunities for Albirex in that second half. Much better chances in the second 45. Again, they're just lacking that finishing touch. They couldn't put those opportunities away. For Tampines Rovers, they did have openings of their own, but really it was Albirex Niigata in that second half who were able to open up that Tampines Rovers defense. Just again, that finishing touch in key situations just lacking.
Well, look at what it means to those fans today. It's almost like a win for them, Roshan. Just the nature of the way they play today, what's been happening behind the scenes, the kind of press that they've got as well.
Yeah, and impressive. You know, I think good response, a good way to shut the critics up. I know there'll still be some critics who say relax, it's just a point. But the way it was the performance for me. Yes, they got the result in terms of holding Albirex, the league leaders, but also the performance. You know, after that debacle of the second 45 against the Lion City Sailors, and what's happened in recent times, the reports in the media about the infighting and the things like that, and the issues behind the scenes. They came out here and they put a fighting display, Tampines Rovers, and I think that's why there's so much satisfaction in the stands amongst some of the players as well, because how many people really gave them an opportunity against Albirex Niigata? Well done to the Stags.
Let's take you through the story of this game then with the highlights. We cast our mind back to the second half where Kuraba Kondo and Tsuboi certainly made a difference when they came on.
Yeah, he was getting in really good positions, Tsuboi. His movement in the box was just really a joy to watch. Always getting onto the blind side of defenders, positioning himself in areas where he could receive crosses that were coming into him. Just couldn't quite find a finishing touch, unfortunately, on that occasion. That header going wide because he was leaning back, he was off balance, and then just mistimed the header towards goal. That one, Tezuka trying to catch Shazwan off guard at his near post, but Shazwan was alert enough to it. And then here, another good opportunity as Hashioka drills that one across the face of goal. Shazwan parries it out and gets help from his central defender, Daniel Bennett, who keeps that one away. You can see the pattern of the game in the second half. It was Albirex Niigata with chance after chance, creating these opportunities, these openings, but just not being able to find a way through. Nice energetic work by Hashioka. A rare occasion that he actually was able to get away from Armin Bosniak there, put in good quality into the box, but it was cleared away by Dan Bennett.
This was great work, wasn't it, from Hashioka?
Here, once again, I mean, he did really good work there, and the movement again from Tsuboi here is absolutely fantastic. Bahaki's just caught on his heels a little bit. He's ball watching, and Tsuboi again just drops off, uses the blind side before accelerating towards the near post. Good header on the ball. Fantastic save by Shazwan. Gets his arms up very quickly to keep that one out. And then here they're rescued by the frame of the goal as Kunimoto reacts to that flick on from Yamashita here at the near post. But he just connects underneath the ball and he can't guide it into the back of the net for Albirex. And then here another one as it's swung in late on. Big chance, Kuraba Kondo. Is off balance a little bit, doesn't get the connection that he would have liked in that situation. But Tsuboi once more, you know, he gets himself into a good area where he can head it back across the face of goal. Chance after chance.
And right at the very end, Nagasawa so close, trying to go first time. Again,
this was a big opportunity. Big opportunity for Nagasawa. Bennett, you know, trying to deal with that, trying to look at the ball, trying to look at where Nagasawa is. And Nagasawa actually wants to hit that first time, but he just takes his eye off the ball for a split second, the chance is gone.
Right, the man who's been in the spotlight for quite a few weeks now, Gavin Lee, the head coach of Tampines Rovers. Let's hear what he has to say after the match.
So, Gavin, that was a much improved defensive performance from your side. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, well, first of all, we got to give credit to Albirex for trying non-stop to score that goal, and they kept the ball moving very, very well. But, you know, kudos to our boys for sticking to the plan, covering those areas that we spoke about, and, you know, first clean sheet in a long while, and it's quite pleasing.
You could see the elation on your team's face when the final whistle blew. How relieving is that result for you?
It's not a matter of relief, it's just joy, because we've put in a lot of effort to improve our defending, and finally we've got a clean sheet.
I know it doesn't affect your team, but I'm sure you know you set the league up for an even more exciting title race after that result.
No, not really. To this point, it's more for us to secure AFC Cup spot, and we've done that. Now we can look ahead and make sure we are ready for it.
All right, thank you. Good luck in your final game.
Well, he's not going to give much away there, is he? Just like his team today.
Yeah, look, brilliant. I mean, he touched on the fact that they were looking at an improved defensive performance. That's what they delivered. I think he would have liked that in that last game, especially from what we saw in that first half of that last game. They wanted to try and repeat that here, and they did for the full 90 this time around. So, you know, again, kudos to this Tampines side. You know, that result, they can't really be bothered with what happens around them. What happens to the Lions? They're not involved in the title. They don't care. It's not their problem.
Yeah.
But you know what he said there was about securing the point for the AFC Cup, and they were able to do it. But I think again, importantly, was to really give off a show here that, you know, we don't want to go out on a whimper. You know, it could have been easily, they could have been off on their holidays, not overseas, or maybe to Germany, but maybe to Sentosa on the beaches there. But, you know, it wasn't about that. It was about showing that they're still here, they're still professional, they still want to fight for their fans and for themselves. And congratulations to them on getting the point.
Now let's get the views of his opposing number. Here's Keiji Shigetomi of Albirex Niigata.
KG, that was a frustrating draw for your side. What did you make of that performance?
Of course, I'm not satisfied with the performance, but we have to change our mind and prepare for the next match. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good luck next week.
Well, Tampines Rovers have a habit of frustrating this side, Albirex Niigata.
Yeah.
It's only one win in the last 5.
Yeah, said at the start, right?
Yeah.
That Tampines have actually got as a club, have got a good record, a decent record against Albirex, and they frustrated them again here tonight. And Shigetomi, yeah, you can sense the disappointment there. Says that he's got to look to try and recover the players with their mentality and just look ahead. Look, the pressure's now on the Lion City Sailors. What happened the last time out that Albirex dropped points against Tanjung Pagar? They lost.
Right.
Lion City Sailors went to play against Balestier and dropped points. So now, yeah, it's all well and good, hoping for others to do you a favor. That's done now.
Yes.
Now you've got that opportunity, Lion City Sailors players out there, to take this chance. It's all on you. It's all on your shoulders. Pressure's on. Can you deliver?
Well, let's illustrate what Roshan is talking about when we look at the table now, because there is very, very little in it. 3 points separate the two sides. As Roshan mentioned, there is a game in hand. Lion City Sailors will take on Geylang International. That is at our Tampines hub on Sunday. Should they win that, they will go top going into the last day of the season. They already have a superior goal difference, only by 1, but it will be enough to get them on top of the table should they win. So here are those games that we talked about. Young Lions are hosting Tanjung Pagar United. That's on the 26th. Everyone, I'm sure, will also want to be keeping an eye on Geylang International against Lion City Sailors at the same time. Geylang are also in action on the 3rd against Balestier Khalsa, and Hougang United travel to Toa Payoh Stadium on the 6th at 7:45. And then, of course, it all comes down to the 10th of October. Well, another fascinating day of football. No goals, the first time in 53 matches that Tampines Rovers have failed to score, but I'm sure no one is going to mind that, Roshan. And also, by the way, let's remind all our viewers, a big game for the Singapore Lionesses. They're playing Indonesia.
In the qualifiers, what an opportunity this is for them to qualify for the Women's AFC Asian Cup. They're taking on Indonesia.
In Uzbekistan.
Is it Turkmenistan?
Well, Turkmenistan. It's very far away.
Okay.
It's very, very far away, but we hope you support them. And we hope you support us in the next few days, of course, with all those SPL matches coming up. From Isha Sadhak, Rish Roshan Rai, and the team here at Jurong Stadium, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you soon.